Your yard is not ugly. It is just unfinished. Somewhere between the day you moved in and today, that patch of grass became a chore instead of a place. Mow it, edge it, water it, repeat. No birds stop by. No butterflies linger. Just green carpet baking in the sun, costing you money and giving you nothing back. But there's a version of your yard that works while you sleep, that feeds bees, shelters birds, cools your house, and looks like something out of a nature documentary, right outside your window. Today I am showing you exactly how to turn that boring yard into a naturalistic sanctuary. Step by step, no fluff, no fantasy budgets. Stick around because the step most people skip first is the one that decides whether this whole project succeeds or turns into an expensive weed patch by August. Welcome back to Home Intel, the channel for honest, no sponsorship, no brand deal home and design content. Everything here is based on what actually works, not what a paid partnership wants you to believe. If you care about a home that looks good and functions even better, subscribe because this channel exists to save you money and mistakes. Why lawns fail wildlife. Traditional lawns are ecological deserts. A single species of turf grass, mowed short, treated with chemicals, offers almost nothing to pollinators, birds, or soil life. In 2026, turf grass still covers more land across the United States than any single irrigated crop, including corn, according to satellite-based ecological studies. That is a staggering amount of space doing almost nothing for the environment. On top of that, outdoor irrigation, mostly lawn watering, makes up nearly 30% of average residential water use nationwide and climbs as high as 60% in drier western states. A naturalistic yard flips that completely. Layered plants, undisturbed soil, and diverse root systems create habitat instead of erasing it. Step 1, assess before you plant. Before you buy a single plant, walk your yard at 3 different times of day and track sunlight. Full sun areas get 6 or more hours of direct light. Partial shade gets 3 to 6. Full shade gets less than 3. Note where water pools after rain. That tells you your drainage. Check your soil texture with the ribbon test. Grab a handful when it is damp. Sandy soil falls apart immediately. Clay soil holds a tight ball. Loam holds together but breaks apart with light pressure. This is a standard technique used by agricultural extension offices, and it takes 10 minutes. Skipping this step is why so many rewilding projects fail. People buy plants based on looks, not conditions, and half of them die in the first season. Step 2, kill the lawn the right way. You do not need chemicals to remove grass. Sheet mulching works well for most yards. Lay down cardboard directly over the grass, overlapping edges by several inches, then cover with 4 to 6 inches of mulch or compost. Over roughly 2 to 3 months, the grass beneath dies and breaks down, feeding the soil instead of wasting it. For faster results on a small area in hot climates, solarization works well too, but the material matters here. Use clear plastic, not black. Clear plastic traps heat underneath through a greenhouse effect and effectively cooks the roots in 4 to 6 weeks. Black plastic just blocks light and takes far longer to work, so do not swap them thinking they do the same job. Avoid tilling if you can help it, since it disrupts the fungal networks in your soil and drags a bank of dormant weed seeds up to the surface where they can germinate. Step 3, choose native plants first. This is the single most important decision in the entire project. Native plants evolve alongside your local insects and birds, so they support far more life than ornamental imports. A native oak, for example, can host over 500 species of caterpillars, according to entomologist Doug Tallamy, and those caterpillars are the primary food source for baby songbirds. A non-native ornamental tree from a garden center might host almost none. Use resources like your regional native plant society or extension office to find a list specific to your zone, since what works in Georgia will not work in Oregon. Prioritize plants for every layer, ground covers, mid-height perennials, shrubs, and at least one small native tree if space allows. Step 4, design in layers, not rows. Nature does not plant in straight lines, and neither should you. Group plants in odd-numbered clusters of 3, 5, or 7 for a natural look. Layer height so shorter plants sit in front and taller ones behind, creating depth instead of a flat wall of color. Leave curve, organic pathways rather than straight lines, since curves slow the eye and make small yards feel larger. Repeat a few key plants throughout the space to create rhythm, otherwise a wildlife garden can look chaotic instead of intentional. Step 5, add water, even if it's small. Water is often the missing piece. A shallow bird bath, a small recirculating fountain, or even a simple dish with stones or insect to land on will dramatically increase the wildlife visiting your yard. Moving water attracts birds faster than still water, since they can hear it from a distance. If space and budget allow, a small pond with native aquatic plants becomes a magnet for dragonflies, frogs, and birds, and requires far less maintenance than most people assume once the ecosystem balances itself. Step 6, build shelter into design. Wildlife needs cover, not just food. Leave a brush pile in the back corner for small mammals and overwintering insects. Stack a few logs to create habitat for beetles and salamanders. Leave seed heads and hollow stems standing through winter instead of cutting everything back in fall, since many native bees, like stem-nesting mason and carpenter bees, overwinter in the bottom 12 to 18 inches of those hollow stems. A slightly messy naturalistic garden in winter is doing more ecological work than a perfectly tidy one. Step 7, reduce or eliminate chemicals. Pesticides and herbicides do not distinguish between pests and the pollinators you are trying to attract. A naturalistic yard is designed to self-regulate. Diverse plantings attract predatory insects like ladybugs and lacewings that control aphids naturally. If you must intervene, use targeted, minimal solutions rather than broad-spectrum sprays. Give the system a full season or two to find its balance before assuming something is failing. Step 8, maintain differently, not less. A naturalistic yard still needs maintenance, just a different kind. Instead of weekly mowing, you're doing seasonal edits, cutting back perennials in late winter, dividing overcrowded clumps every few years, and pulling truly invasive species before they spread. Mulch pathways to keep them defined so the space still reads as designed rather than neglected. The biggest mistake homeowners make is assuming natural means no work. It means different work, spread across the year instead of every single weekend. Common mistakes to avoid. Do not plant aggressive spreaders without a plan to contain them, since some native plants can still take over smaller beds. Do not remove every bit of lawn at once if you are not ready for maintenance. Phase the project over a year or two instead. Do not ignore your local HOA rules or city weed ordinances. Check both before you start, since many municipalities have maximum height restrictions on unmanaged vegetation near property lines, and an unrewilded rewilding project can get flagged if the edges are not kept defined. And do not expect instant results. Most naturalistic gardens take 2 to 3 full seasons to really fill in and look intentional. The yard that once cost you time and water every week can become the most alive part of your property, buzzing, blooming, and full of birdsong, without a single sponsorship or gimmick pushing you toward it. It just takes the right sequence: assess, remove, plant native, layer, add water, build shelter, cut the chemicals, and maintain with intention. If this helped you picture what your yard could actually become, hit subscribe here on Home Intel, because we break down real, honest design and home projects like this every week. No sponsors, no fluff, just what works. Let me know in the comments what your yard looks like right now, and I will see you in the next one.